Hey folks, Michael Anthony here with the Exceptional Life Podcast. Yeah, baby, doing another episode. All right, so I'm out here in nature today, filming this video. So if you hear any lions or tigers or bears, then you'll know why. But anyways, I'm just kidding. There's no lions and tigers out here, I don't think. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the brain, specifically how self-talk, self-praise, and the reticular activating system kind of all work together. So it's really about how powerful and how destructive your self-talk can be. So hopefully you find some value in this and realize that some of the conversations you're having with people or things you're just thinking in your head on a daily basis can have a tremendous impact on your life, good or bad. So join me as we talk about this in more detail on the Exceptional Life Podcast. So little do people know how much of an impact their thoughts, their conversations, the things they're saying to themselves and even to others have on their life, the impact it has on their life, and the impact it has on the reality that they perceive on a daily basis. So, for example, how often are you saying disempowering, fearful, negative things to yourself? Or how many times are you having a conversation with somebody and you guys are complaining and feeding off one another about some sort of circumstance, the news, something that's going on out there in the world, maybe at work? And just kind of think about that for a moment. How often are you saying things like, oh, I'm getting old, I'm fat, oh, I'm terrible with names, I always forget people's names, what's your name again? Or things like, my boss gives me a headache, I'm always stressed out at work. My colleague, I just can't stand her. She drives me nuts. Think about that. How often are you saying things similar to that? And obviously I can go on and on with examples, right? Or how often are you thinking about something that you're afraid of? How often are you holding yourself back? Where are you procrastinating in your life? And what's the story you're telling yourself about why you're procrastinating, why you're holding out, why you're not taking steps necessary to reach your goals? They're all rooted in fear. So how often are you thinking about those fears? Do you have fear of rejection? Do you have fear of success? Do you have fear of failure? And they're all kind of rooted into the same message, which is, what's the message you're telling yourself? What is the self-image you hold about yourself? What is that self-talk on a deep level, on a what seems to be innocent level of just conversations you're having with people? How often are you stating and reaffirming negative, disempowering thoughts, conversations, beliefs? Think about it, because it has a direct impact on how you live your life, how you perceive reality, and what you get in life. So as I said, little do people know how much of an impact their self-talk, their self-image they have about themselves, or what they focus on has on their life. It has a direct impact on their life. It essentially gives them what they're focused on, what they're talking about, what they believe about themselves and others, what they believe about the world. Little do they know that what they are experiencing in life, what they are getting in life, is a direct reflection of what they're thinking about, what they're feeling on a daily basis, what they are believing about themselves and the world around them. Those constant thoughts, those constant habitual thoughts that have become hardwired in their brain, that's what they're experiencing in life. And most people just don't realize that. So how is that possible? How could one do that? It sounds like a superpower, right? I think about things all the time and then I get it, right? Well, that's essentially, in a way, it does work. And this is not woo-woo stuff, okay? This sort of is that whole law of attraction thing, but this is rooted heavily in science with certain parts of the brain that are very responsible for this occurring. So let's talk about that. Have you ever heard of the reticular activating system? The reticular activating system is a very powerful part of the brain. It's located at the brain stem. It's a bundle of neurons and nerves that essentially filter information to and from your brain. It acts as a distiller that distills down what's important, and it leaves all the unnecessary information out. So when I say it distills down to what's important, that's to your conscious level. So it's distilling all that information that the powerful subconscious mind is aware of and constantly sensing, and it distills down what's important to your conscious level, and it leaves all the unnecessary information out. So how does it determine what's important and what's not? Well, that's an important point here. This is a very important key point to remember. It distills the information down and decides that it's important based on your thoughts and beliefs, based on your predominant thoughts and beliefs. Your brain does not analyze all of the information that's coming in to decide whether it's right or wrong or good or bad. It's not judging and criticizing the information that's coming in. It just lets it in. Your subconscious mind is millions of times more powerful than your conscious mind. That's the whole goal of the reticular activating system, to manage that tremendous amount of information that your subconscious mind is aware of. So if you didn't have this reticular activating system, your head would explode, because think about how much information is coming into your subconscious mind at any one point in time. You're not even consciously aware of it. But first of all, your subconscious mind is just allowing you to stand. It's doing all the habits and biological functions necessary to keep you alive, to regenerate cells, to keep you breathing, to keep your heart going. It's maintaining all the chemical cocktails in your body that makes you feel good or makes you feel bad. It makes you duck if a rock comes flying at your head. It's doing millions of things at once. That's why it's so powerful, and that's the whole purpose of it. But it also is aware of everything that you see, you hear, you feel, you talk about. It's bringing all that information in. It just lets it in. So without the reticular activating system, you could not function, because there would be so much information to process. That's why your subconscious mind is subconscious, so you're not aware of it, and the reticular activating system is filtering and feeding you the information that it deems important. But that's based on your thoughts and your beliefs. If you watched any of my videos on the mind, on the subconscious conscious mind, we talked a lot about this, how the subconscious mind is millions of times more powerful than the conscious mind. And just to remind you, subconscious mind is processing, 20 million bits of information per second, while the conscious mind can only handle maybe 20 to 40 bits of information per second. So that's a big difference. Now, I also talked about how beliefs are established, and they're established in different ways, but a lot of our beliefs are established when we're young, under the age of 7. We're constantly being programmed from our environment from birth. And think about how you were raised. Think about a lot of the thoughts and beliefs and disempowering, fearful things that you believed as a child that you kind of picked up, or traumatic events, abuse. All sorts of different things play a role in the beliefs that you establish while you're young. And then you continue to evolve as you get older, right? Traumatic events could quickly change beliefs. You could take on beliefs by all of the outside information that you are consciously aware of, such as the news. Think of all the negative news, all the people around you who may have negative outlooks on life. That could, in a sense, influence your belief systems and the type of person you are. Van going by. Actually, it's a UPS truck. So we talked quite a bit in those other videos about beliefs and the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, and all you really need to understand for this video is that you have very well ingrained and hardwired belief systems and thought processes already running in your mind. If you don't understand how that works, then definitely go check out some of my other videos. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to assume you know that already and that you can change that. But keep in mind, the way in which you are experiencing life and you're perceiving life is because your reticular activating system is filtering down and providing you evidence to reaffirm those thoughts and beliefs you have. So think about it. If you go around on a daily basis for years with disempowering conversations and thoughts, and you talk to people and you tell them how much your boss drives you nuts, he gives you a headache, then you have all sorts of negative consequences that will manifest as a result of that, and you have no control over how they're going to manifest, right? Because there's an infinite way in which that negative energy is being reaffirmed by your thoughts, your beliefs. Your reticular activating system is going to look for evidence to support that which you think and believe on a daily basis. Your predominant thoughts and beliefs is what that reticular activating system wants to support, because they're habitual. And again, it's not going to judge whether they're good or bad. It's just letting them in. It's like a machine. It's filtering that information in. So if you walk around talking in a very depleted state, low-level negative energy, you don't feel good, you feel like you're getting older, you're lazy, you're out of shape, and you reaffirm that to yourself, and you talk about it with other people, and you get a rise and get excited over all this negative stuff going on in the world, and you talk to other people about it, you're just reaffirming that which you are focused on, and what you are focused on becomes your reality by way of the reticular activating system. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? And one other thing I want to point out, because this is important. Again, this is rooted in science and research. I don't have all the research right here with me, but if you go and look for it, you'll find it. There was some other research done that showed that having positive, kind of neutral thoughts and stating them out loud, like in a conversation or even if you're alone, just kind of stating out loud positive thoughts, they're 10 times more powerful than if you just thought them. So stating something out loud is more powerful than just thinking it. Now, the negative thoughts, the disempowering, depleting negative thoughts, they're upwards of 70 times more powerful, or I should say destructive, than stating positive thoughts out loud. So the negative ones are much more destructive when you state them out loud. And one of the reasons for this is because when you're stating something out loud, you're getting your physiology involved. It's your brain's at full attention to what you're saying. And if you're stating it out loud and you're reaffirming it, you have a certain chemical cocktail of hormones that get released every time you have a thought. And so if you're stating something out loud and you're feeling those hormones, you can become addicted to the hormones of stress. So even though they're negative thoughts and beliefs that maybe you're stating out loud, those hormones you're getting could be things like cortisol, and you get a little bit of a rise out of it. People will feel that rise, right? You feel that rise when you like something bad happens, you get in a fight, or you're talking about something that could be negative in nature, but you get all fired up about it and get angry. So there's certain chemical cocktails that you can release, and that's one of the reasons people become so addictive to their own thoughts and beliefs of a negative nature. And they're reaffirming them, and they're talking to other people about them, and they're getting all fired up together, and they're feeding off one another. That's not a good thing, right? And if you do it all the time, it registers in the subconscious mind, becomes habitual. And once that becomes habitual, the thoughts and the beliefs, and I talk about this in those other videos, then you're going to have a hard time changing those. And you're already addicted to some of those hormones of stress that you're generating every time you talk and think about these negative subjects or topics, and it just becomes a habit loop that is hard to change. And your perspective on the world, you're not really conscious of. You just believe the world's a bad place, you believe all these negative things, so on and so forth. There's a dog going nuts. I don't know if you guys could hear that. It's like a yappy little dog going crazy. That's part of the joys of being out in the woods. You might hear a turkey gobble, you might hear a dog barking down the road, a really high-pitched dog. I might have to pause this until he chills. Oh, maybe he chilled. I just sent my energy that way to chill him. He chilled. No, I'm just kidding. So anyways, with that all said, so how do you start to influence that reticular activating system for the good, right? To create an amazing life, to perceive an amazing life, to align yourself with the information that you really want to focus on, which is greatness, happiness, joy, exceptional health and well-being, awesome relationships, luck, right? How do you align with that? How can you start to influence that reticular activating system so it's working for you and not against you? Well, we're going to talk about that next. So I'm going to share with you 7 techniques that I've personally used to influence massive change in my life by way of my subconscious mind and reticular activating system. And hopefully you could experience some value and change with these techniques as well. So let's hop right in. So number 1 is developing a self-awareness, which is vitally important. Without some sort of self-awareness, it's hard for you to even start to recognize the thoughts that you have going on in your head, especially the habitual ones. So you need to start to develop a present, grounded self-awareness where you can start to notice thoughts, conversations you're having, and the beliefs that you have, and start to challenge those, start to understand them, start to notice when they come up. And throughout the day, just take that one day to start writing down how you're thinking and feeling and what you're believing. Any thoughts that come up, especially if you're getting some sort of rise out of something that's upsetting you, if you're not feeling good, if you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling anger, write it down. What happened? Why are you feeling that way? What do you believe about that to be true? Is there something about that you believe to be true that makes you feel that way? Is it making you feel insecure? Is your boss upsetting you? Why does your boss upset you? What do you believe about that to be true? Is it because you feel that he's picking on you, that he's trying to dominate you? Or maybe he's being unfair? Just write it all down. Start to get all of your thoughts down. Now, we have approximately 60,000 thoughts a day, so I don't mean for you to write down 60,000 sentences about your thoughts, right? But what I want you to do is take one day to focus on really trying to be aware of your thoughts, especially the ones that are holding you back, the ones that are causing you to procrastinate, the excuses you have about not doing something, anything that gets you upset or angry, anytime you're feeling anxiety or depressed or you're just not feeling good. Or if you have that negative self-talk going on, you're able to recognize it. When are you saying it? Write it down. Right? Write it down. If you feel like you get up in the morning and I feel like, man, I'm just in so much pain. I feel like I'm getting old. You know, we get old when we age, right? Anything like that, anything that's not considered positive or empowering, write it down. And you might write a lot down that first day, but I want you to get everything out on paper as a first step in this process. It's good to have a journal. Write it all down and try to be really honest with yourself, okay? That's the first step. Now, the second step, it's not going to be as in-depth. The second step is to review all that information and start to look for themes. You'll start to maybe notice themes that maybe every time at work you feel anxiety, you feel stress, you feel depressed, you're not happy. It's not the job of your dreams, right? Maybe you're not passionate about it. You'll start to notice things. Certain times of the day, maybe you feel unhappy because of certain things you're doing throughout your day. So you start to notice common themes. You're starting to build an awareness of your thoughts, right? If you need to do this for a couple of days, then do it for a couple of days. One day is usually good enough to start to build just a little bit of awareness. Now, you're going to be starting to train your brain just by writing this information out. There's very powerful aspects in just writing information out. It gets you present. It's changing your physiology. You're writing it out. The energy is traveling through that pen onto the paper. That's a great way to build self-awareness around your thoughts. So do it for a day or 2 or 3 at the max, just getting your thoughts out and start to look for those common themes among these disempowering negative thoughts that you're having. Now, review that information. Your brain's going to start to form neural networks just based on the journaling you're doing, and you're starting to review that information. It's an exercise, so you're going to start to build neural networks around this self-awareness of yourself, of your thoughts. Now, after you've done that, you've gotten that information out, and you're starting to build that awareness around how you feel every day, what you're thinking about, what you're complaining about, what you're talking about with other people. Then, moving forward is part of a daily routine, or at least 5 days a week, I would say. But I would say do it daily. Is when you first wake up in the morning, grab your journal and list out 3 to 4 of those negative, disempowering thoughts that you have, those beliefs that you have that hold you back, that that cause you to get angry or feel stressed, and write each one down, and then take a moment to write how you would like to feel, how you would like to think in that situation. So write the opposite of whatever you wrote down. Do that for 3 or 4 different types of thoughts, negative thoughts that you have. And then for the rest of the day, your goal is to stop those thoughts before they come up, right? As they start to come up throughout the day, maybe something happens at work, or you're feeling that way. Maybe just walking into the office, you see your boss and you kind of, you guys smile at each other, but you already are feeling anxiety and stress because you're predicting that something bad's going to happen that day. He or she's going to give you some shit, whatever. Become aware of that. And so the goal is to stop that thought dead in its tracks. Stop that thought dead in its tracks, because the feeling that you're having, the corresponding feeling you have about that negative thought, right? You see your boss and you might even subconsciously think, I hate that person, right? And you might not even be aware that you're thinking that because it could be a habit by now. The corresponding thoughts you have, that anxiety and that stress you feel in your chest, that's the chemical cocktail that the thoughts are triggering to be released in your body. So we want to stop that. We want to reverse that. And it's going to take some time. So your goal is to be aware of those 3 or 4 disempowering negative thoughts and or beliefs, and go through your day, and anytime you're feeling it or you're noticing it, you're becoming aware of them, you want to stop those thoughts dead in your tracks, and you want to take a second to think about your positive statement that you wrote down and try to feel that way. Try to feel the opposite of how you're being triggered otherwise. So maybe you see your boss, you immediately feel that anxiety and stress. Boom, that's triggering you to remember, I wrote this down. I don't like the way I feel right now. I obviously am having some bad thoughts about my boss. It's causing this anxiety and stress. I'm going to stop it. I'm not letting it in. And then think about the opposite that you wrote down. The positive aspect, the positive thoughts and beliefs you want to have about your boss, about the job, whatever. And you want to start to try to feel that way. Now, it's going to be hard at first. It's especially hard the more the more aroused you get in a negative way about something, the more anxiety and stress and anger and fear that you feel about certain situations. It's hard to reverse that at first, but you can do it. It's going to take repetition. It's going to take awareness, but you want to start to become aware of those thoughts, and you want to start to reverse them. Now, a good way to reverse them, if you simply are having a hard time feeling the opposite, that's because you're so addicted to the arousal, to the anger, to the fear, that it's hard to let that go. It's going to take some time to habitually change that and make it automatic to the opposite. So you could think about and reaffirm the positive thoughts and feelings you want to have about that particular situation or person or event or circumstance to try to cut off that negative reaction that you're having. And if you can't do it, then a great way to supplement that is to take 6 deep breaths. So maybe you see your boss, you get that negative feeling, you become aware of it, so that's good. The first step's good because you actually became aware of it instead of just automatically going on throughout your day. You became aware of it, you tried to implement and instill the opposite. Oh, my boss is actually under a lot of stress. I feel bad for them. He's under a lot of stress to give everybody a hard time, and he's just doing his job. He's stressed out. You know what? I really feel bad for him. I'm just thankful and grateful that I don't have to go to the board of directors, and then I got to treat everybody like shit because I have control of my emotions, and I feel great. And you know what? I feel great right now, and I'm going to have a great day. And I'm not going to give my power to my boss and automatically feel anxiety and stress. You know what? I'm going to have a great day because I feel great, and I am great. So you're trying to get yourself pumped up, right? You're trying to reverse those emotions and reverse those negative thoughts. And then if you still can't do it, if you're still feeling it, you could reaffirm to yourself over and over again. The more, the better. But then maybe take some deep breaths. Go to your office, whatever, go to the bathroom. Breathe in through the nose. You can use your mouth too. Breathe in through your mouth, down into your stomach. Deep abdominal breathing. And then fill up your chest, and then let it out. If you do that 6 times and you make them nice extended breaths, maybe 10 seconds per whole breath cycle, so 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, and do that 6 times, so that's essentially 1 whole minute of deep abdominal breathing, that actually gets you very present and grounded, and you release some really feel-good hormones when you do that type of breathing, and you have more control over your thoughts and your emotions because you're bringing yourself back to the present moment. And so you could do that deep breathing to really make a physiological change in your body for the better. And a big old butterfly just flew over my head, scared the crap out of me. I thought it was like a bird coming at me. You're having this physiological change from the breathing, and then you could start to reaffirm that positive thought you want to have and believe about your boss, about that job, or whatever negative thought you're on. Reverse it then, right? So do the deep breathing. It's going to bring you into a feel-good, present, grounded state, and then you could start saying those positive thoughts, those positive affirmations in your head again, completely knocking out that negative thought process. Now, the key to this is doing this every day, doing this daily. That's why I say pick 3 or 4, because you're going to want to monitor for these thoughts throughout your day. So you're going to want to pick ones that are important to you, that you are feeling on a daily basis, and really work on them to start. And then you can adjust as you go. So start doing this on a daily basis. And I even still do this to this day. 99% of my days are awesome. They really are. My life is just exceptional, and I've intended it to be that way, and it wasn't always that way. It really wasn't. I had some serious stress and anxiety going on at times in my life for a majority of my adulthood on different subjects and topics. And I've been able to significantly change that. And so that's why I'm sharing this with you. But I still do this. I might pick 1 or 2 thoughts. And I don't even do it every day anymore. But there are times where fear comes up, stress comes up, anxiety. You know, we're always evolving, we're always changing, we're always growing, and I still am too. This is a great way to start to grab hold of yourself, to grab hold of your mind, and make it work better for you. So start doing that on a daily basis. Become more self-aware. That's the whole purpose of this exercise. So that's number 1. Okay, number 2 is self-praise. Simple enough, right? So self-praise, the way I do this is every morning I have a reminder set on my phone that goes off, I think it's at 9:30 every day. And I walk through a quick self-praise exercise that lasts anywhere from a couple minutes to 5 minutes or more. It starts to instill very empowering thoughts, thought processes, and eventually beliefs into your mind. And it's because of the habit of doing this every day that it will eventually sink into your subconscious mind, okay? Now, as I mentioned before, your brain doesn't care if what you're telling it or somebody else is telling it is good or bad, or right or wrong. It's not judging and criticizing that information. It's just letting it in, okay? So one of the amazing things about the brain is that it doesn't care also if you're telling it the information, if you're thinking the information, or if someone else is telling it to you, right? So just to give you an example of this, self-praise, you're praising yourself, right? You're telling yourself what you want to hear. And it's not just from your perspective. Tell yourself what you want to hear from everybody else. Your parents, your boss, your clients, so on and so forth. And this is extremely powerful because, again, your brain doesn't care if you're telling the praise to yourself or if somebody else is telling you the praise. So it feels good when somebody praises us, right? You know, if your parents ever praised you, said, "Oh, I'm so proud of you, son," right? Or your mother said, "Oh, you're such a wonderful woman. You grew up to be an amazing, strong, confident woman," right? That feels good when people praise you, right? So that's exactly what you're doing. You're simply going to go through this exercise, spend a few minutes telling yourself exactly what you want to hear, even if it's not true, or even if you feel like somebody in your life would never say that, right? Maybe your parents never told you they were proud of you. Maybe they never really told you they loved you. Maybe your boss never told you you're an amazing employee. You're so productive, right? Maybe you've never been told these things. So tell yourself what you want to hear. Your brain doesn't care if it's coming from you or not. It's going to let that information in. So it's a tremendous way to influence that reticular activating system and the subconscious mind. Tell yourself how great you are. Tell yourself that you love you. Tell yourself that you're proud of yourself. And the other part of this exercise is to actually say it as if you are the other person. For example, I might say, Michael, I am so proud of you, son. Your mother and I are so incredibly proud of you. You've become an amazing man. You're confident, you're strong, you're healthy, you're successful. We love you, and we are very proud of you, son. It's going to seem silly at first. It seems very silly, but the more you do it, it won't seem so silly. Plus, you're going to start to notice change over time. And this just adds to the changes you want to make in your brain so that you can live a more exceptional life. So tell yourself what you want to hear, and tell it from everyone's perspective that's important to you. Say it from your boss's perspective. Say it from your wife or husband's perspective, your clients. And your brain's going to let it in. It's going to start to influence amazing change in your life as if you were really told that. And guess what? You're going to start living in that manner. You're going to start being more confident. You're going to start giving reasons to other people in your life for them to praise you because you are an amazing person. Isn't that amazing that you could do that, right? Isn't that tremendous that you could influence that type of change with a simple exercise that seems silly? Do it. It's powerful. Now, one other thing I'm going to mention about this specific exercise is it could also be powerful if you do it back in time. Now, that might sound a little crazy and woo-woo, but I'm telling you, it's not, okay? Because all we have is the present moment. We don't have the future. We don't have the past, right? All we have is the present moment. We're only living in the present moment at all times. So even in the past, things that have happened to you happened in that present moment, and they're gone. What you have right now is the present moment. So another thing you could do, especially this is great for people who've had some sort of trauma or some sort of memory instilled at a young age that really inflicted pain and fear or anger in their lives. Go back in time and tell yourself what you would want it to hear from your parents, from your grandparents, from friends that maybe you had back in the day, or maybe your first job when you were a child, or tell yourself what you would want it to hear. And that seems even sillier and far out there, but I'm telling you, let go of the ego and do it. Try it. You could look at yourself as a baby, visualize yourself being a baby. Michael, your father and I are so proud of you. You're the most beautiful baby. We love you. You're going to be an amazing man when you grow up. That's another powerful way to do this exercise. I do some of that too. Most of the time I'm just praising myself, and I get through it in a few minutes and I feel great and I go about my day. So try it out. Let me know how it goes. All right, number 3, we're moving along here. Number 3 is going to be affirmations. Now, you may have heard of affirmations. You know, I am healthy, I am confident, I am successful, right? Those are affirmations. So here's how I use affirmations, because affirmations can work for you or against you. So there's a certain way in which I like to use them. First of all, I set a reminder on my phone every day at noon. My reminder goes off, and I spend just a tree branch just fell. That's a synchronistic event. Make sure there's no dead ones above me. Widowmakers, they call them. Okay, I think we're all right. That was weird. Okay, anyways. So there's a certain way in which I like to use affirmations to make sure they're effective. And again, this is just a couple minutes that I spend doing this every day. That alarm goes off. I usually don't miss a day. I've just made it part of my daily routine no matter where I'm at. I'll do them in my head or I'll state them out loud depending on, you know, where I'm at. So I usually pick, I have 5 or 6 like just good solid affirmations that I've come up with. Like one of them being, I am incredibly healthy and full of well-being, right? And I have them listed on my phone, and I go through them and I try to say them at least 10 times each. Sometimes I get tapping involved. I'm going to talk more about tapping later. But the important part of saying the affirmations is you don't want to just say them, right? Now, repetition's important, but you need to feel them. Feeling them is more important than what you're actually saying. So I want you to start to try to feel whatever you're saying. If you're saying I am healthy, vibrant, full of well-being, you see how I kind of move and I stick my chest out and I just feel good. I could feel it in here. It's like a warm, fuzzy feeling. It may not be easy to do at first if you've never done it. So write down, 5, 6, 7 really solid positive affirmations about different areas of your life that you want to feel, right? Regardless if you truly feel that way or not. Maybe you're not healthy, but you want to be healthy. So you're going to state it as if it's in the present tense, as if it's real right now. I am healthy and full of well-being, right? State it as if it's already happened, it's in the present tense, and you're already experiencing it. So the second part of that is feeling it. Feeling it is the most important part of this in order to drive change into your mind so that you actually believe what you're saying. And the whole goal is to get this to sink into our subconscious mind. So as you do this day in and day out over the course of years, then you can instill change and actually start to be healthy and full of well-being. You start to subconsciously make healthy decisions. You'll start to subconsciously be drawn towards more healthy choices. That's the way it works. That's the beauty of it. If you can get it to sink in your subconscious mind will be like, this guy's healthy and full of well-being and vibrant, and he's strong, he's physically fit, right? And you're going to make healthy choices. You're going to intuitively be drawn to more healthy relationships and people and circumstances. That's the way it works. That's the whole key to this, is getting it to sink in the subconscious. So the more you feel it, the easier it'll be to get into your subconscious mind. So just try to feel it. Try to drum up the emotions of what it would be like if you already had that or you were already experiencing it. So try to drum up those emotions, right? I wake up every day, I feel energetic, I'm full of this healthy energy, right? You want to feel it, okay? So state the affirmation and feel it. State it over and over again, right? I try to say them at least 10 times each. Sometimes, depending on how much time I have, I might only say them 5 times. Don't worry so much about that. Just try to say them multiple times and try to feel it as you say it. Now, it's going to be more powerful if you state it out loud. Remember what I said earlier. It's 10 times more powerful if you state it out loud. It's going to be 10 times more powerful to seep into your brain if you state it out loud. So I like to really get into it. If I am in a private setting in my office or something like that, then I really get into it. I state it out loud. I move around. I get the energy flowing. I change my physiology. I stand up and I really get into it. And that's important. Now, if I'm on a train or a plane or something like that, and it's time to do my affirmations, then I just say it to myself and I feel it. I try to make sure I feel it. I'll close my eyes. I also get some tapping involved. I'm going to talk more about that later. That's not necessary, but it's also helpful. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is visualization and or mental rehearsal. Okay, visualization is such a powerful technique. I use it all the time. It's a meditative experience. It works with your imagination to start to instill change in your brain, okay? It's a very powerful tool. It's used by professional athletes, the Olympians. It's used by CEOs of major Fortune 500 companies. It's been studied and researched quite a bit. A lot of information out there about that. So just to explain why visualization works well is because the brain doesn't know the difference between something that's happening in your mind and something happening in reality. Isn't that amazing? Your brain actually does not know the difference between something in your mind that you're visualizing and imagining versus something that happens in reality. And this is easy to prove to yourself. You can think back to maybe a traumatic event, something bad that happened to you in the past, or even something amazing that happened to you. And if you close your eyes and really think about it, you could feel those same feelings as if it's happening again, right? So that's where the power lies in this. That's one of the reasons we're human, because we have that magnificent prefrontal cortex, that part of our brain that allows us to be creative and imagine things, and we could drum up emotions as if something's happening to us, even if it's not happening. And so the brain doesn't know the difference. The subconscious mind's going to let it in. So that's where the power lies. You want to visualize how you want to experience life. So just sit down, close your eyes. I always take multiple deep breaths. So maybe 5, 6 deep breaths. It's going to get you in a very grounded, meditative state. You don't got to sit weird or anything. Just sit down comfortably, sit up straight. You don't want to lay down because you might fall asleep, and then that defeats the purpose of the exercise. So take those deep breaths, have your eyes closed, and start to create the mental imagery of how you want to feel, how you want to live your life, how you want to look. Just come up with all those positive aspects and see yourself living out that life, the life of your dreams. And you can go wild in your imagination. You could be a millionaire in your imagination. You could own a mansion. You can be the boss, right? You can be the boss with no boss. You could own your own company. Just visualize how you would like to see yourself, how you would like to feel. And it's important. The feeling part's the most important. So seeing it's important. Create that mental imagery. Come up with a scene of you being the person you want to be, doing the things you want to do, having the things you want to have, and let your imagination run wild. And the most important part of it is feeling. So you want to get all of your senses involved. Try to smell the room you're in. If you're outdoors, maybe you smell nature, right? Try to feel and touch things in your visualization and actually try to feel them. Maybe you're touching leather, right? Or maybe you're touching a carpet. Try to feel it. Try to get all of your senses involved because you want the experience to be as real as possible. Now, again, this is going to be hard to do if you've never done it. Now, a lot of people have daydreamed before, so you kind of get the concept, but this is a very intentional visualization. It's a very intentional rehearsal of mental imagery, and you want it to be exciting, fun, joyful. You want to feel gratitude. So again, you want to drum up those feelings. You want to see and experience your life in this visualization as if it's happening right there before your very eyes, and you're feeling the experience and you know what it feels like. Now, this is incredibly powerful because if you experience it in your mind and you do it over and over again, you could do the same visualization. You could change it up a little, but you could be in the same scene. You could change it every day. It doesn't really matter. The whole purpose, the whole point is to see that mental imagery, get all of your senses involved, and really feel it. Feel it as if it's happening, as if it's real. And as you get good at this, then you're going to really feel like it's really happening. You'll open your eyes and be like, wow, I'm sitting here in my office. I really was just walking around my mansion, on 1,000 acres of land or whatever. It becomes a very enjoyable experience because of the power of our mind. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. So try to make it a daily habit. Now, how long do you do it? I would say I like to do a minimum 10 minutes. And sometimes I do an hour or more. So fit it into your schedule, maybe set a reminder. At the very minimum, I would say just a few minutes. As long as you're feeling it and you're experiencing it and you're putting a smile on your face, you're sitting there and you're really visualizing how you want to live life. That's going to be the most important aspect. So it might take you a few minutes to get to that state, but the better you get at it, the quicker you'll be able to jump into that state of being, that state of mind, that visualization exercise. So dedicate a few minutes. If you can do 10 minutes a day, you're going to instill amazing change in your life. So highly recommend it. Visualization's great. I do it all the time. I pretty much do it every day. And I do a minimum of 10 minutes. A lot of times I'm doing 45 minutes. So try it out. Try it out. Let me know how it goes. Okay, number 5 is what I call the pre-paving rampage. So this is a fun exercise that I implement into my daily life. Again, I have a reminder set on my phone. I think it's 8:30 a.m. every morning I do this. And again, I only spend a couple minutes doing this. So you're going to see a lot of similarities in these different techniques and exercises because these are different ways to instill change in your subconscious mind, hence influencing the way the reticular activating system is going to filter you information, circumstances, events, so on and so forth. So the pre-paving rampage is a way to create a memory of something that has already happened according to the brain, but has not really happened in reality yet. So remember, I mentioned this a few times already. The brain doesn't know the difference between something that's happening in your mind, something that's happening in reality. So you can actually start to lay the neural network of a memory that has already happened for something that you want to experience, and the brain will think it has already happened, and the reticular activating system will filter in information to you that aligns and supports that memory of you living the life of your dreams or whatever you want to do. So for the pre-paving rampage, I usually average about 5 to 10 minutes, and I go on a rant. I go on this positive, joyful rant about how amazing my life has been over the last 6 months to a year. I talk about all of the changes that have happened, and I go into detail. I just rant out loud usually. I like to do it out loud. Remember, it's more powerful if it's out loud. A lot of times I close my eyes and I kind of hold my heart when I do it, because you could feel that joyful feeling, that gratitude in this center of your body when you really are feeling what you're saying, right? So a lot of times I'll close my eyes. You don't have to. You could even do this with somebody. It's a great partner exercise where you both do it back and forth to one another, and you start to feed on these joyful, exciting experiences, and you treat them as if they already happened. You create memories in your brain of something that hasn't even happened yet, and your brain takes you to that which you desire. Isn't that amazing? So again, 8:30, I get that alarm. I usually sit down, put my hand on my chest. I usually take a couple breaths. I get centered, and then I just go on a rant about all the changes in my life that have happened in the last 6 months, and I go into explicit detail, and I really feel it, and I get excited, and I go on this rampage, this rant about how awesome all these changes have been and exactly what has happened. I talk about different areas of my life, like my career, my creative pursuits, my hobbies, my passions, my relationships, my marriage, right? I talk about all sorts of things, and I just talk about all these changes I want to see in my life, but I talk about as if they had already happened. And the whole point is because you're laying the neural network of a memory that hasn't happened yet. But if your brain thinks it has happened, it aligns you with that reality, and your reticular activating system takes you to it. It allows you to see the people, the circumstances, the information, the events that align you with that reality that you've created as a memory, even though it hasn't happened. Super powerful. Super powerful. Now, number 6 is EFT, also known as tapping. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. Now, this was a practice when I first really started to become aware of my life and started to make mindful changes in my life. When I came across tapping, I was like, this is really bizarre. I don't see how that... I was very skeptical, right? It's a really weird exercise. If you've never done it before and you're just kind of on this journey of improving your life, it seems like total woo-woo type stuff, and I promise you that it's not. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about how to do tapping. There's tons of videos out there. I suggest looking up Brad Yates or Julie Schiffman or Nick and Jessica Ortner from the Tapping Solution. They're all amazing teachers of this technique. But there's tons of videos on YouTube about it. I'm going to have more videos about EFT in the future, because it's been one of the single most important exercises I've put into practice on a daily basis. I do it every single morning. It's one of the first things I do, and I spend anywhere from a minimum of about 20 minutes upwards of an hour or more doing this every day. And just to give you a quick summary on what it is, you're tapping different meridian points on your body while you're stating things out loud. And this is great for driving subconscious change, subconscious programming. It's great for alleviating fears and trauma. There's all sorts of great use cases around this exercise. I use it for primarily changing my subconscious mind and instilling positive, empowering thoughts. So that's all I'm going to go into on that particular exercise. I highly suggest trying it out. I'm going to have a lot more videos about this specifically, and it's been very powerful for me. Maybe it'll work for you. It's a form of energy psychology. It's really kind of a form of self-hypnosis. It kind of falls into that bucket of modalities. So check it out. Okay, number 7, the last one, is gratitude. Gratitude exercises. So I've put out other videos about the power of gratitude and different exercises and techniques for using gratitude to your advantage. So I highly suggest checking them out. I will link them in the description for you. I'll also put a video up here for you to check out. I definitely suggest checking that out. I go into detail about the power of gratitude and exercises you can use to change your subconscious mind, which is going to help you change, to allow more things into your life that you can be grateful for. Amazing things, greatness, right? You can literally change your life for the better in amazing ways using these simple techniques. So gratitude's another great one. That's the 7th one that I shared. Now there's all sorts of techniques and modalities and exercises you can use to take advantage of your reticular activating system to put really powerful, empowering thoughts in your subconscious mind and to change your life for the better. Those are 7 of my favorite, but there's plenty more. You don't have to do all of them. What I would suggest is coming up with a daily ritual where you use either all of these or some of these and find the ones that resonate with you the most. Not all of these work the same for everybody, but I'm sure at least 1 or 2 or 3 out of those 7 will have some sort of significant impact on your life if you're willing to take the time and put in the work of trying these out daily. I would say try them out for at least a few weeks at a minimum. You don't want to just do them once or twice. But it's sometimes hard to instill new change when you have other habits in place and you've never done things like this. So really take the time to dedicate trying to do it at least for a few weeks. Let me know if you have any questions, and I would love to hear any feedback you have or other techniques you've used to impact your life in a more positive, exceptional way. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and have an exceptional day. We'll see you.